Hey guys, what's up? Today we're going to be doing a tier list video, and I want you guys to know that this is going to be based off of my opinion, and the cards would be rated higher or lower relative to builds and your playstyles that you will use. Yeah, let's get into it. So Admin Reload, I'm going to straight up put in A tier. I think this is a great card for sniper builds, sorry, sniper builds, because you will be swapping your guns pretty often for horde clearing, or you got ammo in that gun, things like that. And what things that affect admin reload are things like reload speed. It makes it faster while your guns put away. Don't know why I'm yawning so much. So for example, if you have an offensive out, you will be getting more. You will be reloading while doing that, reviving, opening a box, webbing, whatever you're doing, and reload speed makes you do it faster. Right? If you see it in a shrine, you should always pick it up. All right, next card, Adrenaline Fuel. Adrenaline Fuel, we're gonna put it in S tier. The stamina refund is great, and you can skip stam cards and upgrades with this card. That's pretty much there is to it. Ammo belt, I'm gonna throw in A tier for two reasons. It's 50% reload speed, and it's 50% extra ammo. This is great, especially if you don't rely on your teammates to be giving you ammo. And with Find Your Mark being bugged currently, it's, if you guys don't know, it's only giving 5% ammo right now, instead of 10. That's pretty big. Ammo for all, I'm gonna put at C tier. It got buffed this patch, which made it a little bit better. However, I still don't think it's good to be in the card slot. If you see it in the shrines, solid card. Ammo meal was a bit niche, but I do like this card, especially for 2-as-1 builds, because you're going to be most likely shooting a lot and guzzling down a lot of ammo. And it's good to have, like, if you're doing an AR/SMG build on 2-as-1, you're going to be shooting a lot. You're probably not going to stop shooting, especially when there's a horde. And it's not good to be constantly asking your team for ammo in those situations. Plus, if you find it in a shrine, it's a good buy, because it's inadvertently a card you can use as a support card. It's basically like an On Your Mark, since, like I said, On Your Mark is bugged, so you can just drop more ammo for your team. Ammo pouch, put this in D tier. It doesn't do much, but if it's at a shrine, it's worth a pickup. It's only 25% ammo capacity and 2.5% bullet damage. Not doing much. Ammo scav, worthless card. We're throwing that F tier. Ammo stash, putting that. I'm gonna put that at B tier. Not many builds use this. Only like infinite secondary builds use this. And for builds like that, it's a great card. For those builds, I would throw this up to an A tier. No, overall, in general, I'm gonna leave it at B. Amped Up, I'm gonna throw this at A tier. I think it's a phenomenal card. At least have one of on your team. It's awesome for pure chaos. When nests are being popped, it's just passive healing. Ointment, I'm gonna put at C tier. It's only 25% healing efficiency, and the plus 10 HP you get from this is not very noticeable. I think it's a great pickup for a shrine for the healer, but I would never have this in the deck. Rangers of Fallen, put this on a C tier. I think it's a solid card, especially since it stacks. You can get a lot of damage, and reload speed from this card, and you get unlimited ammo. However, there is one problem with this card, and you need a teammate to go down to be able to use this card. And I just don't think it deserves a higher spot than C because of it relying on that. Let's see. I actually don't think he did. Oh. Good. So, Battle Lust, we're gonna throw on A tier. Pretty obvious. Gives you HP and heals your trauma. Belt Clip, we're gonna throw on C. Belt Clip is a good shrine card. Don't put this in your deck. It's just one extra quick slot plus 10% use speed. I don't think it's that great. Berserker, we're going to throw an A tier. They made it easier to maintain stacks, and melee is this pairs up pretty well with Adrenaline Fueled, since you're gonna have less stamina issues. And the Berserker makes holding choke points a lot easier in general. So we're gonna throw that in A tier. Body Armor, throw this in C tier. It's a good shrine card, great shrine card, but I would never put this in the deck. Bodyguard, since they fixed it since they fixed a bug that was happening, that if you had down in front, you'd be able to negate damage for free. This card's a lot worse, so I'm gonna throw this one at D tier. Bomb Squad, I'm gonna throw this one at B tier. If your teammate is running a bomb build though, I'd probably throw this in between A and S, honestly, because that's 100% extra damage, 4 extra nades on that map, and 80% explosive resistance, which works on exploders as well. Bounty Hunter, phenomenal copper card since it works on hives, and on No Hope, you will be getting 30 mutations a map, so that's a free 300 a level, and the more hives, the more money. Boxo Bags, throwing this on A tier. The reason it's not S is only one reason, and it's because you have to. This is 4 slots, one for each teammate, right? But you have to be able to communicate with those teammates to be able to hold things for you and whatnot. If they're not doing that, I think I think Shoulder Bag would be a better card, because you don't have to. That's a selfish one. You have 2 slots for yourself. You don't have to rely on other people. Bravado, I'm gonna throw on. This one is in between C and B for me. I think it's a solid card. If you run it with a melee or like a pyro, somebody who's taking a lot of damage, this card jumps up to in between B and A. But in general, I think it's a C tier card. Raisin, let's see. Alright, so in Brazen, we're gonna throw on A tier. It's a good all-around card. It helps you swing faster, it helps you clear faster. By the way, the reason I keep looking at this game is because I don't play a lot of melee, but I talk to a lot of melee players, and this is their general consensus. And yeah, they don't want to leave those cards out, because I know a lot of people do play melee. Breakout, I'm gonna throw on C. I think it's all around a pretty meh card. However, if I find it on the shrine, I will get it, because there are situations where your team pretty much ignores you, and you're gonna be able to get that whole cast bar off. Broadside, I'll put at D tier, because it's not consistent. However, a lot of people don't know, this will one-shot all the common around it, because it does have a weak spot modifier, but what that means is it'll do weak spot damage, but nothing amplifies this card. Nothing. So if you use weak spot cards, it won't buff the damage. You use explosive cards, it won't buff up that damage. But it will one-shot all the Ridden when you proc the explosive on it. Milkshot Bruiser, I'm gonna put in D. It's a really fun card. However, it needs too much to even work okay. In general, It will only work on bosses and specials or on very low damage builds, because if you when you shoot a common, it's gonna kill them with one pellet. So that means you're only gonna get 0.25 temp health, and with temp health decaying so fast in No Hope, you're not gonna really notice this. But if you're using something like a Belgian and you're like constantly shooting a special with low accuracy, it'll work out. And if you have pumped up and mom, you'll see some gains from it. So if you are building around it, I think it's at least a B tier card. Canned Goods, I'm gonna throw on C tier. Reason being, I think it's a good card for shrines. I think it, at the lower end play, I think it's a great card to have in your deck, because it helps you by making more mistakes. Charitable Soul, I'm gonna throw on C tier. Another really good shrine card, but I don't think a medic should put that in their deck. Chemical Courage, I'm a little biased towards this one. I think it's a phenomenal card, especially for a medic to have, because Chemical Courage is multiplicative damage, and it can get your sniper to like really high breakpoints that you can be able to 1 to 2 shot breakers in game, depending on the attachments. But I'm gonna leave it at C, because let's say you don't have a medic, you're gonna be able to go ahead and buy it at a shrine, and it's so big. But I would never put this in a DPS deck, personally. Cocky, I think this is the best soft speed card. The negative, it doesn't tell you the number of the accuracy you lose, but you lose around 20 to 30% accuracy, and when you get hit, which is pretty noticeable if you hip fire. But I don't really hip fire that much, and the only time I've noticed it drastically is when I was using a minigun. Cold Brew Coffee, I think it's a phenomenal card. It has so many all around good stats, and I think a lot of people will put this in their deck. Combat Knife, we're gonna throw in D tier, because they nerfed this pretty badly, and it's nowhere near as good as it used to be. And if you kept up the patch notes, that should be pretty obvious. Combat Medic is, I'm gonna put in D tier. It doesn't do much. It's basically a 50% use speed card. At 20 health, if you just use Healing Efficiency, and Healing Efficiency works with resin, so that would do more than this card. Combat Training, really meh card. The only way I see this card being used is if you're doing a stumble shotgun, but regardless, it's better to build more damage on a shotgun build. But if you want to be a support for whatever reason, you can go ahead and put that card in your deck, but otherwise, in my opinion, it's a shrine card. Compound Interest, I'm going to throw this in C. It's not a really good card. It's meh. The reason I'm putting it at C is because it's good to buy in shrines, but overall, the card's a win more card. You need too much copper to make it worth, and you could just use other cards to get more net profit more consistently, like Money Grubbers. Confident Killer, we're gonna throw this A tier. It's in between A and S for me, because it's multiplicative damage. If you guys aren't sure how it works, we're gonna it stacks up to 15 times throughout the whole level, and that damage is only for you. However, if anyone kills a mutation, you get a stack. Short Movement, garbage card. There's not much to say about it. It's basically Hellfire but worse. Copper Scav, throwing this at between A and S for me. I'm gonna put this in S here. I think Copper Scav is a phenomenal card. It spawns 2 extra 50 piles, so that's 100 copper for all your teammates, and it synergizes phenomenal with Money Grubbers, so that's pretty big. And it allows you to see the copper, and I know a lot of people don't know all the copper locations, so you won't miss copper, which is pretty big. And if you guys don't know, Scav cards, they do stack, so if 4 people have them, more copper piles will stack, will spawn, like, so 2, 4, 6, 8, right? Cross Trainers, probably the most overrated card in the game, throwing this at C. The reason, last patch it was insane because it was bugged. It was giving 40% extra stam regen because it was bugged. But ever since the move speed and sprint speed like change, basically making them two different brackets, I think that card is meh at best. Dash C, 5% move speed, sprint speed. I would rather have other sprint speed cards like Mad Dash or Run Like Hell. Defensive maneuver, it's too hard to proc. I'm gonna throw this at D tier. It's not consistent enough, and when you need it most, it's not gonna do much for you. I just think it's better just to run another DR card. That's way more consistent. And a padded suit. That's an A tier card. That's 50% more accessory damage, and you know we all know accessory damage builds are meta right now. Probably the best, not probably, it is the best build in the game right now. Pyro, Pinata, offensive damage builds. And you just be melty everything. Double Grenade Pouch recently got nerfed. Minus 5% sprint speed, but who cares? It's still 2 slots. Phenomenal card. Down in front, I'm gonna put this at C. So, this card is good in the situations where you don't trust your team to not shoot you. And it allows you to be able to cover your teammates by shooting through them. So this card is a good card. Like in pubs, I throw this at A. But in pre-made teams that know what they're doing, I think this is a pretty shitty card overall. But if I find it at the shrine, I will buy it. Because I will get the 10 HP from it. Durable, put this at C tier. Think it's an average card, good shrine card. EMT bag, think it's a really good. Let's put it A. I think it's a really good medic card. I think it's nearly essential in a medic deck, especially if your team isn't buying upgrades, to get the most out of your each healing. Energy bar, put it at C. It's a mech card. You get 30%. Stamina regen and 5 HP. It's noticeable. It's basically like playing Evangelo. If you play Evangelo and you play another character, you'll notice that little bit of extra regen. Energy drink, I'm gonna put this at B tier because it's one of the few cards that has slow resistance, and I really like that. And it has a bunch of other added little things. Shimmer TNT, I'm gonna leave this up to y'all. I love this card because it's 10% stam, 10% stam regen, and 10% HP. So it makes glass cannon instead of minus 30%, it makes it minus 20%. Canned goods instead of minus 30% stamina is gonna be minus 20% stamina. And it's also a win more card. I think it's a really good card. I like when my medics have it, but I know not a lot of people think it's worth it. Let's see, for Face Your Fear, it's a bread and butter with EMT bag and overheal. So we're just gonna go ahead and throw that at S tier. So fanny pack, solid card overall. 1 slot plus 15% trauma resistance. This is in between C and B for me. I can see this going in some medic decks. I wouldn't use this card in a deck personally, but whenever I see it in the shrine, I definitely buy it, especially for that trauma resistance. Field Surgeon, this card is either rated super high or meh, and then there's a reason for that. Basically, if you have a Pinata person in your team, and as you're dropping a lot of meds, and you're not gonna be able to pick up all those meds. So Field Surgeon makes you be able to use that abundant amount of resources to get just free trauma heals, and it ends up being like an A tier card with a good Pinata user in your team. Otherwise, I think it's an okay card. Fire in a Hole, put this in C. I don't think it's that great of a card. I think it's nice to have in accessory builds, but I don't think it's essential. I'd rather have more damage in other sources. Fit as a Fiddle. Let's see. I'm gonna put this in B tier. Because it is nice to have on a lot of builds like melee pyro, and it can be used for your medic as well. Fleet of Foot, I think it's a solid card. And the reason I think this card is solid is because you're most likely gonna find some negative 5% movement speed card in as an intel, and that's going to be able to help you break even and be a little bit positive by 3%. First Bandage, I think this is a good card. But the thing is, it doesn't work in hives, so this loses a lot of value for me. But if you're doing no hives, I think this card is a phenomenal card. And if you don't have a healer, phenomenal card, because this is going to heal you a lot. I've had a couple runs recently where I find Fresh Bandage and everybody finds Safe Room Recovery, because Safe Room Recovery does stack now. They changed it in the patch, and we basically get full health and full trauma heal. It's awesome. Insight Focus, such a good card. It has so many positives: 10% weak spot, 15% aim speed, and 20% accuracy. It's a really good card. Glass Cannon, it's one of my favorite cards in the game, to be honest with you. It's bugged right now. It's been bugged for a while. Basically, it doesn't do multiplicative damage to the weak spot anymore, and how it's just additive. It makes you lose a lot of value, but it still works on the body properly. I'll throw this in A tier because I think it's still a really good card. But the best scenario to use it would be an accessory build, or a doc who just wants to use one damage card, because it's basically like having Rolling Thunder and Hyper Focus in one card in one slot. If you guys don't know how damage works, I want you guys to go ahead and look at another video I have that teaches you how damage works, so you guys are better informed on that. Grenade Pouch, throw this on C. I think it's a solid card. One extra offensive slot, 25% swap speed. I don't think this is that great in a deck, but hey, if you want to use it, go ahead. Grenade Training, I'm gonna put this in D tier, because I don't think this is good in any deck, unless you just want to. It's like a win more in a sense, because without this card and all the other accessory cards, late game you'll be able to one-shot a Hag with a nade, or two-shot breakers and three-shot ogres with grenades, and this doesn't help you reach better breakpoints. Group Therapy, throw this in B tier. Ever since Temp Health doesn't work with trauma anymore with the Warp Chest card, Fit as Fiddle, Well Rested, and Group Therapy lost a lot of value in my opinion, but I still think Group Therapy is a very solid card, because it is healing the whole team. It's basically an AoE heal. Ends out, good card if you can manage the minus 5% damage resistance, and you don't want to deal with the negative of Kaki, but that's up to player preference. Hazard Pay, this is either going to be B or A tier for me, because it depends if you're playing with a pre-made or you're playing by yourself. If you don't trust your team, Hazard Pay is a phenomenal copper card. It is noted that this does not work in hives, but it's better than cards than Share the Wealth if you don't trust your team, because this gives you an extra 150 copper to yourself. Headband Magnifier, for Act 1, S tier. But for all around, I'm gonna throw this on B tier if you can handle the blinding, because I will note that USP does work, or like how fast you revive somebody. Heavy Attack, I think this is a horrendous card. Throw that F tier. Heavy Hitter, gonna throw this in A tier, and the reason for that is if you're using Bat, you get to the point where you can stumble specials pretty easily with a Bat. But on certain other builds, like an Axe build, I think Heavy Hitter would gain a lot more value, and that would be put into the S tier. Hellfire, I think it's a solid card all around in negate Hyper Focus, and I'm gonna throw that at B tier. High Vis Sights, I'm gonna put this at C tier. I think it's a okay card. Basically, it's a little worse than Tunnel Vision, but this doesn't have the minus 5% damage resistance. So that would be preference there. Highwayman, another solid card. This is really good for secondary builds, and if you're doing a secondary build with Pyro, like a Belgian Pyro build, this would be jumped up. Hunker Down, I think it's a solid card. For shotguns, it helps you reach 90% accuracy if you want to hit specials from far. It's the same with melee if you want to do that, and it gives you damage resist. So you compare this up with other crouch cards like Down in Front. and since you're always crouching, and it'd be a nice benefit. Hydration pack. I'm gonna throw this in C tier. I don't think this is good in your deck. It's 25%. Not 25%. Sorry, that's a big difference. Plus 25 HP and minus 15% ammo. Air Focus. Instantly an S tier card for me. Best weak spot card in the game. Ignore the pain. Let's see. I don't see anything on my notes for this. He did put it on. My friend Bob put it on A tier for melee, so gonna have to trust him on that. Provides explosive. If you're doing an accessory build, S tier. It's literally 75% accessory damage, minus 25% saw speed. In this zone, it's a really fun card. I'm gonna throw this on B tier. I don't think it's worth putting it on the deck, but this, whenever I see this in Shrine, it's an insta buy for me. Buy and Sacrifice, put it on C tier. I think it's never good to put in the deck, but if you find a Shrine, it's an okay buy. It does work with Overheal as well, and it works with Healing Efficiency, so that's pretty cool too. Killer Instinct, I think it's a phenomenal card. If when you're doing no EDS builds, it doesn't have the downsides of Hyper Focus, but it has the upsides of having the weak spot damage. Knowledge Power, this put a C tier. Because it's a good card to know to learn for newer players, basically how much damage you're doing, and it's a great testing card, and it allows you to know how much HP things have, right? Excalibur rounds, I think it's the best bullet damage card in the game, my opinion, because it allows you to horde clear with ease, and it gives you 200% bullet pen. Life Assurance, I think it's a meh card, never should be in your deck, but if you find it, maybe it's an okay buy if your team is going down a lot. But for me, this is probably a D card, but I'll put it in C because the reason I just said. Line them up, I think it's a pretty solid card. I like this card, especially for the aim speed. I'm gonna throw it at B. It just has a lot of positives. Lucky Pennies, put it at C. The reason I'm putting it at C is because you should never put this in your deck, but if you find it in a Shrine, I'd pick it up early game. Make sure you get it early game, not late game, because it will pay itself off. And if you get lucky, it'll do some work. Mad Dash, I'm gonna throw that in S tier. I think it's the best sprint speed card in the game. Then all these cards for having ammo. I look at this for the ammo. And the damage is secondary, because the damage is going to be additive. Additive with intel, team damage, and if you have Glass Cannon, additive on that. If you have Rolling Thunder, additive on that. Again, if you guys don't know how damage works, make sure to check out my other video. Mag Coupler, one of the best no EDS cards in the game, hands down. Magician's Apprentice has gained an insane amount of value. And what I mean by that is, now that you can use 2 kits on medicine cabinets, it has increased value. If you have Hang, Magician's Apprentice, and Purple Toolkits, a 60% reuse chance. And I've gotten like 8 reuses on 1 toolkit, and each toolkit heals 30 trauma. So that's huge. Well, not toolkit heal, med cabinet heal. That's really huge, guys. Mansory PT is a solid card. Whenever I see there's a Shrine, it's an insta buy. 10% stamina and 10% stamina regen for the team. Marathon Runner, gonna go ahead and throw this on B tier. It feels really good, and for melees it feels good too, because you're able to kite around tall boys and while hitting them. Mark for Death, insta A tier. It's multiplicative. You know what? Let's put this S tier. It's multiplicative damage for the whole team, and only one person needs to mark it. No reason not to use this. Mean Drunk, it's a no-brainer. It's more damage. Meat Grinder, that's an F tier. One of the worst cards in the game. There's not much value you're gonna get from this. Medical Expert, I'm gonna put this in C tier. I don't think it's worth putting in the deck, but if you find it in Shrine, great card. If all 4 of you have it, it's 60% healing efficiency for your team plus the other effects. And medical professional, somebody in your team should have that always. It restores a life and it gives you 15 trauma from defibs and from medkit, not med cabinets, sorry, medkits. Let's see. Method, harder to use in Slugger Brazen, but more than double the effectiveness of those two. Throwing that in S tier. Miraculous Recovery, the Gamba card. This card is a lot of fun to use, but don't put it in your deck. If you find it, it'd be fun to mess with though. Money Grubbers, instant S tier. Best money card in the game. Motorcycle Helmet, throwing this in A tier. Phenomenal card if you're doing no ADS. Motorcycle Jacket, throwing this on B tier. And that's a good card as well to get. There's 5% damage resistance and 5 plus 5 HP. Mugger, this depends on the build you're doing. I'll leave it in C though. But if you really like it on melee, it can work, and it does work. And I put it on A tier if you have it in your build as melee. Wait, but it only works for melee, right? So multi-tool, throw this in B tier. It's a really good card, especially paired with Headband Magnifier. The minus 5% damage resistance sucks, but at least you don't get blinded. Astro Sprinter, it's an okay card. I always buy it when I find it. It's minus 50% stamina, but 100% stamina regen. I think it's a really fun card, and I like getting this with canned goods. If you get natural Sprinter or canned goods and no other stamina cards, percent-based stamina cards, you'll have 1 bar stamina, and it's pretty funny to play around with. Needs of the many. If you're on No Hope, S tier. This card is needed for No Hope. If you're on other difficulties, C tier. So I'm gonna leave this in B tier. For an in between. Numb. After the nerf, it's just not that good anymore. Scav cards are amazing. They're just copper. Olympic Sprinter. Don't leave this on B tier. It's a good card, especially if you can deal with the minus 7% damage resistance. On your mark, normally let's say the bug doesn't exist. It's a great card. A tier. Optics Enthusiast, throw it at B tier. I think it's higher if you're doing AES builds. Highest A tier. Like if you want 80%, 80% accuracy of your shotgun, it's good. But I like 50% accuracy of my shotguns personally. Aura Protective is a solid card, but I don't like that you need. It needs to. A team needs to be hit for it to proc. I don't like that at all. Overwatch, one of the worst cards in the game. Too inconsistent, and it needs. The scenario for it to work is not optimal. Padded Suit. We're gonna go ahead and throw this on C tier. It's an okay card, but stamina efficiency hurts it a lot. But I still pick it up. Patient Hunter. We throw that S tier. One of the best multiplicative damage cards in the game. Vampire Step. Terrible card. They need to rework it. Make it stack. Make it have sprint speed as well, not just movement speed. Pep Talk. I think this card's trash. Pinata. If there was a double S here, Pinata would be there. That's the best card in the game, hands down. And you guys should know why if you're looking at this video. Poltez. Between C and B. I think it's a solid card if you're doing a full medic build. Power Reload. Throw in C tier. You have to adapt your playstyle way too much to make advantage of it, and you're not getting that much ammo back. Power Strike. I'm throwing in C. The reason I'm gonna throw it in C is because if you make a build for it, you can nearly one-shot a hag. But if you're not making a build for it, it's overall pretty meh. Just use Heavy Hitter instead. Power Swap, throw it in C. It's a pretty meh card. It counts as bullet damage, but you need it to proc in a weird situation. I just don't think it's a good card. Pumped Up, throw it in B tier. Pretty solid card overall. Put in some decks to make those builds work. The 5% HP is phenomenal. Yeah, not much to say about it. Currently, Pyro paired up with Pinata, phenomenal card. Throwing that in S tier. Quick Kill, one of the best no EDS cards in the game. Throwing that straight to S tier. Reckless Strategy, throwing in B tier. Is still a solid card. I just don't think it's as good as Hyper Focus or Hyper Focus per se. But if you hate the negative on Hyper Focus so much, you can do Reckless Strategy instead. Reckless, I'll throw it in D tier because if you get hit, you lose your whole stamina bar. That's a big turn off for people. Reload Drills, I'll put it in C tier because it's 20% reload speed, and this I only use this in sniper builds personally because you want as much reload speed on snipers for extra bolting. And like Breeding is a great card for lots of builds. Throwing that in B tier. Rhythm Slayer, C tier. It's the lowest weak spot damage card, and just stacking more weak spot. It's pretty negligible. Rolling Thunder, throwing this in B tier. Solid card, but I rather use other cards in this place like Glass Cannon or Shell Carrier. But that's my preference. Rousing Speech did get buffed. I think this is a good shrine card. Not a good card to put in your deck. Running Gun, I'm gonna put C tier. I've never seen this work properly, like well in a deck, but I'm sure Running Gun and Go Together, it can probably do some cool things. Run Like Hell, I'm gonna throw an S tier. It's a phenomenal sprint speed, move speed card. Sadistic, I'm throwing C tier. Honestly, all of the precision cards in this game are pretty shit, but you can stack this up to 20 and get a lot of weak spot damage off of it. Saddest, only one person needs to have it, and it gives a temp out to everybody. That's pretty solid. We'll throw Safe from Recovery at B because now that it stacks, it's a beautiful card to have on the team. Scar Tissue, I'm gonna go ahead and throw this all the way up in S. It's a solid card. It gives you elemental damage minus 50%. Well, plus 50% damage resistance towards elements like fire, acid, and things like that. Scattergun skills, it's S tier with shotguns. And that's 40% reload speed. So quick, so Mag Coupler and Scattergun, that's 90% reload speed. Screwdriver, I'm throwing this to C tier. I never put this in my deck, but when I see it in Shrine, it's good. That's 50% use speed and 10% stamina. Second Chance, I'll put this in D. It's an okay card. 1 extra life, 5 HP. Share the Well, throw this in A tier. Phenomenal copper card. It's 1600 copper if everyone runs this throughout the whole team. But it doesn't work on hives, that's why it's not S tier in my opinion. Shell Carrier, same thing if every other ammo card. Throwing this to C. Shooting Gloves, I'm gonna throw this in B. Solid card all around. Really like that card. Shoulder Bag, I'm gonna throw it in A tier, just in case. Like I said about the shoulder bags, if you don't trust your team, you need to sell for your slot, then shoulder bag is great. Shredder, straight to S tier on the shotguns. On SMGs is okay too if your shotgunner's not running it. Having multiple is not the worst thing in the world because you'll be able to go ahead and stack it up faster. Silver Bullets, I'm gonna throw this in A tier. I don't think it's as good as Arch Caliber because it lacks the same horde clear potential, but it's still a solid card overall. If that's your preference, 10% bullet damage and 10% effective range, or is it 15% effective range? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Slugger, it's a solid card. We're gonna go ahead and throw this in A tier. Sven Assault's pretty dog shit card. It's revive speed. It should never really be in your deck. However you find it in shrines, you can go ahead and get it, I guess. Let's see soften up here in my notes. Soften up 15% damage reduction for the team when you will most likely be taken alone if you're trying to get the card to proc and the drawback. We're going to go ahead and throw this to C tier. Speed Demon for SMG decks. This is a must-have. Spiky Bits. Let's see. There's also in my notes. White Bat does 18 and damage, and White Machete does 26. Adding 20 of that. Make sure you kill up to monsters common and no hope and body, and help with specials a lot for those 2 weapons. So we're gonna go ahead and throw this in S tier. Steady Aim, I think it's a pretty meh card. I don't like the downside. If you have Hyper Focus plus this card, you're not gonna move. Stealthy Passage. In Act 1, A, maybe S, because let's say I'm on 1-1, you'll be able to get up to 1200 copper with all the alarm doors. But for this card to work optimally, you wouldn't need your team to not pop alarms either, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in A tier if you're okay with losing a quick slot. If you're not okay with using a quick slot or whatnot, then I just wouldn't use it. Simmons, it's not a good card. I think it's only nice on snipers, on everything else, kind of meh, but it's really nice when paired up with Chemical Courage. And like with every ammo damage card, throw that in C. Sunder, we're gonna go ahead and throw this. Where did he put it? In B tier. Let's see, it's in my notes. Pretty sure. I don't see it in my notes, but Bob put it in B tier. I'm gonna go with that. Pure Cardio, it's an all-around solid card. Throw that in B tier, since it gives you stamina. Is it stamina efficiency or sprint efficiency? Pretty sure stamina efficiency. I think it's a really good card for us. Support Scav, one of the best scavs in the game. Gonna throw that straight to A tier. It's between S and A for me. It's a lot of healing around the map, and stuff spawning in the map equals copper. Surplus Pouches, one of the best +1 per teammate cards in the game. Attack Vest, you know where that's going. Tool Belts, gonna throw this in B tier. I think having an extra utility slot per teammate is amazing. Sure Control, such a bad card. It's nice to know how many headshots you're getting per level, but I was getting over 100 headshots on a lot of levels, and I still wasn't noticing the accuracy that much. I think a better way to rework this would be like having less accuracy per precision kill, but it would last the whole act. True Grit, I think this is a phenomenal card to know. When a common hits you, you're healing up 10 HP in the later levels. Tunnel Vision, one of my favorite aim speed cards in the game. We ignore the weak spot damage you get from aiming. 2-1, I think it's really good on certain builds like Sniper or an LMG/ARs with SMG. Yeah, those are really nice. Or if you just want to use it on like a like you find it in a shrine of a medic and you want to use the other gun to hold attachments for whatever reason, like if you're not unbolted. Utility Belt, I think it's an okay card. Throw it in B tier. Which one is this one? Is this not Support Scav that I put up here? Pretty sure I did. Maybe I misclicked or something. Support Scavenger right there. What is this? Oh, Utility Scav. I think Utility Scav is really good right now. With it's spawning 2 kits and defibs, and with 2 kits being insane healing right now. Vanguard, gonna throw this in S tier. What did Bob say about it? Said Vanguard, bread and butter, heal cards for melee together with EMT bag plus overheal. Vitamins, I think it's an okay card. Shouldn't go in the deck, but it's a good shrine card. Weaponsmith is dog shit, since you can just go ahead and buy for using it in the toolkit room. Oh, this is Weapon Scav. My bad. Weapon Scav is a okay card if You're not doing hives, but the more hives you do, the less value that card has. Weapon Sieve is dog shit since you can just unbolt. And the room, and if you're really efficient and you have a shotgunner who only uses his primary, you can carry a Deagle secondary, have it unbolted for the whole game, and you basically just have 500 copper one time use and then never again. Wolfbad is an amazing card. However, I would not put it in the deck, but if I find it in the shrines, I recommend everybody to buy it because it's plus 40 HP. Well Rested is phenomenal for temp health builds, especially for melee, since melees can overheal with it. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in S tier for that situation. Widemouth Magwell, best reload speed card in the game. Gonna throw that in A tier. Wooden Armor I don't think is that bad ever since they keep nerfing Charred. I rarely see Charred anymore, so it's basically just a 30% trauma resistance card. I'm throwing that in B tier. Wounded Animal, I'm gonna throw it in C tier because it's nice to pick up, and once you have 300 HP, you'll be able to start healing yourself with Wounded Animal for from when you're less than 100. So when you think about it like that, it's pretty big. That's pretty much it for my list, guys. Let me see if I can zoom it out a little bit. That's pretty much the whole list. I really hope you guys liked the video, and I appreciate you guys watching. See you in the next one.